Well, hi, welcome to Chess Base Workshop. I'm Steve Lopez, your host for this every week. Thanks for clicking on the link and joining us. We've been looking at boards in Fritz12 in the last few workshops, and this time around we're going to take a look at the 3D boards in Fritz12. Just some very basic stuff about the 3D boards. Not everybody loves 3D boards, by the way. I'm very aware of that. There are some people that love 2D, some people love 3D. That's why there's vanilla and chocolate. You know, everybody has a different taste. So this may not be your cup of tea. However, if you do want to play in a 3D board, I do encourage you to give it a shot, see what it's like. It may change your mind if you're not a big believer in the 3D boards. The way you get to them, first of all, is you go to the top, to the board menu, select it, and now you get a ribbon that shows your board options. Here's a button that says 3D board, and the mouse over says select a 3D board style. We click on this button and we get a bunch of pictures of what the 3D boards look like. We have a bunch of different kinds that are illustrated in these pictures. 4 of them are pretty graphics intensive, and those are the character boards, Mia, the Turk, and Susie, and we have the Fritz room, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. First, we're going to show you the old style, simple 3D board back in the late 1990s, about 1996 or so, when Fritz 4 came out. This is what the 3D board looked like, and there were a bunch of different ways you could tweak it. But this was your basic 3D board. They've gotten way better since then. At this time that this came out, I will have to tell you there was one competing program that had a gorgeous 3D board. I can't remember the name of the program anymore though, but it had a 3D board that would knock your eyes out. But a few years later we came up with something else that was really, really killer, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. But I will tell you that these are graphic intensive. If you have an older computer or one with a lower end graphics card, you may not be able to run these boards. We're going to click on the Fritz room, which I am very fond of. And this is basically what it looks like in a small form. If you want to see it in all its glory, you're going to need to come over here and start closing a few windows. But you can play on this 3D board very well. But what I'd like to show you is what it looks like full screen. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start closing these panes. They're on the right hand side of the screen. Just start knocking these out one by one so we get a little bit bigger view. Now the other thing we want to do is there's a way to get full screen, and the way you do it is on the keyboard. You do Control Alt F as in Frank, or full screen, Control Alt F all at one time, and when you do it you get a pop-up that says to restore normal view, press Control Alt F. If you can't remember the keyboard command, write it down. It'll save you some hassle later on in trying to dig around in the help file and find what the keyboard command was. That's assuming you can get to the help file because you've made this thing full screen. So let's click OK and see what we get. And now we have a full screen view of this chessboard, and I'm going to tell you that the video is not going to do this justice. As soon as I start moving this around, it's going to look a little weird because of the video capture software. But I want to show you some of the cool features of this room. There are some commands in the lower left-hand corner that help you to navigate the 3D view, to change the angle, to change the zoom, to change different aspects of the appearance of this board. There are 4 buttons. Up, if you click on it, it raises the board upward in a vertical plane. If you click the little bottom button, the down arrow, it lowers the board in the vertical plane, and the 2 side buttons just slide it to the left and to the right as you're seeing here. There's also a trackball that you can click on using the left mouse button. Another way to do the same exact thing is to click and use the right mouse button, hold it down, and just move things around. This looks a little jerky because I am running video software right now at the same time to capture this video as I am moving the board around. So it'll jerk a little bit. It'll be much smoother on your computer. Right now, running this board and my video and audio capture software, I can hear the little hamster running in his wheel really hard right now, and smoke is about to roll out the back of my laptop. So just understand that it is a lot smoother on your computer. But if you look at this room, this is really cool. This is like being in an actual room. If you look behind, there's books on the shelf. There's a bottle of champagne sitting on the shelf as well. There's a lovely picture here. It could be Marie Antoinette. It's someone from that era, the late 1700s, early 1800s, with the lovely wig. Really cool stuff. But then again, this is probably a little bit later. This looks like an old black and white 1920s photograph of possibly a singer or an actress, but I can't quite make out who it would be. But this is like a real room. As you turn around, you can see the wall behind the white player. There's a door there. There's a window, latticed window. Might actually be a French door. A little beat up though. Some of the lattice work is missing, and that wall there needs a little bit of improvement. So this place, if you bought it, would be a fixer-upper. We can see the back of the clock, by the way. Look at the back of the clock. This is really cool. You've got, you can wind it, set the time, change the speed of the movement a little bit. That's how detailed this is. This is like a photorealistic chessboard. It's like being there. There we have a latticed door, and we're back to where we were. But you can set it for whatever angle you want to. This is fun just to play with. I want to show you the zoom button. If we come here and we go to the plus and minus buttons down here, this is the zoom. You can zoom in and zoom out using plus and minus. The video capture software may not pick this up, but I'm going to try not to move anything on the screen for a minute and hope that the video software clears up a little bit and catches this, because you can actually see the grain of the wood in this knight. That's how well made this set is, how the graphics are with this. Turn this around, you can get a little better look at the clock right there. It's set for a 4-minute game, and as you play, that clock will actually change the time as you're playing against the computer, and you will see the time change. It works just like a real chess clock. And you can turn this around, and here is your chessboard again. The one thing that's a little weird about this, and you can change it, is you can get rid of these coordinates around the board, because they do glow a little bit. They look a little odd, but we'll show you in the next Chess Base Workshop how to change some of the details. But you can move the board around by right-clicking and moving the mouse. Right-click again to set it back to normal mode. You can also left-click on the trackball, as I'm doing right now in the lower corner, lower left corner, to change all of this around, to move the board. That's a brief tour of the photorealistic Fritz Room chessboard. You can, all these commands work the same way with all of the chessboards. If you just go for a standard wood board, or one of the character boards, or boards where you have little anthropomorphic chess pieces, whatever it happens to be, this whole Megillah will be down here in this lower corner, and you will always be able to use this in all of the 3D boards. So that's a brief tour of how to change the 3D boards around. This is a beautiful board. I don't, even if I don't play on it, I like to just sit here and look at it. There's a desk, there's drawers in the desk. This is absolutely just like being in an actual room. It is just really that cool. Anyway, next time around, oh, by the way, I left one thing out, and that is Control-Alt-F again brings you back to your normal view. It's important to remember that. Write it down if you don't remember it, so you don't have to hunt for it later. But that is how the 3D board controls work. The basic stuff in this corner all works the way I described it. Up and down arrows move the board up and down in a vertical plane. Left and right arrows go left and right. Zoom in with the plus button, zoom out with the minus button, and you can either use the trackball or the right mouse button to move the board around on a central pivot point. Very similar to, if you're familiar with world building games, anything with an orthogonal view but does have 3D graphics, work that way, where you can just basically spin around a central point using a trackball effect, usually with the right mouse button. A lot of programs do that, and this is no exception. The right mouse button will allow you to spin around a central point and move the room around. Next time around at Chess Base Workshop, we'll show some more features of the 3D boards. Until then, have fun.